Here we are for day 39. Get your worksheet. We start with capitalization. No new rules, all review. The Parthenon was a temple and the central building on the Acropolis in ancient Athens, Greece. So what do you know? First word in the sentence is always capitalized, so the T is capitalized. Parthenon would be a capital P. Was a temple and the central building on the Acropolis, capital A. In Athens, capital A. Greece, capital G. So the things that should be capitalized look like this: the Parthenon, Acropolis, Athens, and Greece. Next section, punctuation. Use a comma to separate an introductory adverb or adjective phrase. Plainly speaking, that vase is ugly. Speckled and star-studded, the ugly vase remained on a sale shelf. All right, so noting that, we see the following sentence. Quiet and reserved, the young woman lives alone with her darling, high-strung poodle. Okay, well, they start out by saying use a comma to separate an introductory adverb or adjective phrase. We see that right off the bat with quiet and reserved. That would be a adverbial phrase. And so we're going to mark that with a comma. The young woman lives alone with her darling, comma, high-strung. Notice those are linked. There's a little dash between them, with her high-strung poodle, period. And again, I've made the period very large to remind myself all sentences need end punctuation. Try to remember that. Okay? So, quiet and reserved, comma. The young woman lives alone with her, I can't read it upside down, with her darling, high-strung poodle. Good job. All right, next section is parts of speech, nouns, and today we're reviewing direct objects and indirect objects. If that seems like a term, indirect object, that you haven't had in a while, or it's kind of maybe ringing a bell, you want to look back on day 32 of your worksheet. We worked on indirect objects and direct objects at that point. So, a direct object receives the action of a verb. For example, let's make cookies. Let's make what? Cookies. The cookies are receiving the action of being made. An indirect object occurs in some sentences that contain a direct object. 2 or 4 can be mentally inserted before an indirect object and the sentence still makes sense. Okay, so let's take a look. After school, he will give Tim my message. So the subject is he. What is he going to do? He will give. He will give what? He will give message. So message is the direct object. And then we look and we go, oh, look at that. There's another mysterious noun that's sandwiched between the verb and the direct object. That's probably going to be an indirect object. He will give to Tim my message. Hey, it makes sense if I say to Tim, even though to isn't there. So then I know that that's an indirect object. He will give what? He will give my message. He will give my message to whom? To Tim. Okay? So, what do we need to do here? Underline the subject once, the verb twice, label the direct object DO, and the indirect object IO. The sentence, yesterday, she loaned Robbie her car. So what is the sentence about? Who or what is the sentence about? The sentence is about she, okay? And what did she do? What's the action? She loaned. So we know that loaned is the verb, okay? What did she loan? Did she loan Robbie? No, she didn't loan Robbie. She loaned her car. All right, so car would be the direct object. It's receiving the action of the verb. And then what do we do with Robbie? Could we say she loaned to Robbie her car and it still makes sense? It does. Is Robbie between the verb and the direct object? He is. Therefore, he is an IO, or an indirect object. Let's look right here. She loaned Robbie her car. Day 32, if this is a little foggy for you, you can look back at the worksheet or you can rewatch the video. All right, next thing we have is analogies. We haven't had this in a while. This is always fun. Circle the word that best completes the analogy. Teeth is to mouth as stalactites are to... Do you know what stalactites are? If you don't know what stalactites are, you're not going to be able to figure out the analogy. I couldn't quite remember, so I grabbed my dictionary. Stalactites, a deposit of calcium carbonate, like an inverted stacked stalactite, a deposit of calcium carbonate resembling an icicle hanging from the roof or sides of a cavern or a cave. Look, they even have a picture. You see that? Okay, so where do you find teeth? You find teeth in your mouth. Teeth are to mouth as stalactites are to... Where do you find stalactites? You find them in caves. So cave would complete the analogy as stalactites are to cave. All right, last thing you have is your sentence combining. 3 sentences. Make sure that you give your sentence a proper end mark, be that a period, an exclamation point, or a question mark, depending on what type of sentence you create. All right, good luck. God bless you.